Hello and welcome into the newest episode of Pat's Latest. I'm your host, Mike Gambardella, and we are inching closer to the start of the 2025 season. The Patriots squaring off against the Raiders in what is promising to be a potentially very enjoyable season for the Patriots, something we're not used to after back-to-back 4-13 campaigns. But a couple of things to go over before we get into previewing that upcoming matchup in a couple upcoming episodes. And today we start with a look at a second statue outside of Gillette Stadium on the heels of already unveiling the first for Tom Brady. Additionally, look at Stefon Diggs and his impressive move with the Boston media on top of what Drake May is saying about his addition to the offense and what Josh McDaniels has told Diggs about how he slots into the pecking order as well. Also, a look at Jakobi Meyers, the former Patriots wide receiver, who's in his final year of his deal with the Raiders and what's going on with his potential trade request. And finally, an update on Christian Gonzalez and if we can expect to see him on Sunday's season opener against the Raiders. Before we get into all of that, make sure you go down and subscribe for the channel, get into our comments, and let us know what you think about having a second statue outside Gillette already, what Stefon Diggs is going to bring to the table, and if Jakobi Meyers should be on the table setting for the Patriots as well. We start today by looking over at the new statue of Tom Brady outside of Gillette Stadium, right next to the lighthouse, and an interesting comment, I should say, by Robert Kraft on Wednesday, saying that he had always envisioned that it would be a Tom Brady statue, and right next to him would be a statue of Bill Belichick. I think it's interesting in the timing of these comments because Belichick just had a unfortunate bad loss in a season opener for the University of North Carolina in his debut as a college coach. And again, he's going through the twilight of his career, finding a way of how he wants to end his time coaching in the NFL, and he could coach until the day he decides not to. He's earned that right as what I have long said is the greatest coach in NFL history. I think what he has done is unprecedented. The titles, the wins, the AFC championships, everything. I think Bill Belichick has earned that title. Will he hold it forever? Probably not. I think you'd have the same discussion as they did last year with Patrick Mahomes going up against with his resume building against Tom Brady. That all said, I think what we're seeing here is Robert Kraft trying to bury the hatchet a little bit of saying, yes, Bill Belichick means so much to this franchise, and it does. It wasn't just Tom Brady, even though he was the guy on the field, throwing the football when down and needing a score, but it was Bill Belichick's defense and coaching and roster management, yes, even though we point to it at, 2020, 21, 22 of how the drafting got him into trouble, but at the time, for 20 years, there has never been a better stretch in the NFL. And Robert Kraft had a statement that said, when Bill's coaching career ends, we look forward to sitting down with him and having a statue made to be right next to Tommy. So again, that is directly saying what he expects, anticipates. Again, has his year here at the University of North Carolina. We'll see how that goes. We'll see what he's interested in. He had ties and interviews with other NFL teams. We'll see if his name returns in the coaching cycle. I think we're at least a couple years out from this statue taking place, but expect that Tom Brady statue will not be alone for many years. Switching gears over to Stefon Diggs, and he had an impressive leadership moment, I think I would call it, as he started off his comments to the Boston sports media after really not talking to them all summer. And that, yes, did come after the incident on the boat being filmed. And again, not to go back into everything, but Diggs owned his part in it, and he apologized to the media for the silence that he had and not answering questions, and said he wants to be open and answer questions moving forward. He doesn't want to give non-answers or vanilla ones. And he apologized for being a quote-unquote a-hole, for lack of a better term. He said it several times, and he said, I can get that I perceived or acted that way, and I apologize, and I want to move forward and be open with all of you and give answers to your questions. And I think it sets a great example for the rest of his teammates for being the stand-up guy, taking ownership for your actions, and moving forward as one needs to in that situation. So hopefully that really sets the tone, not just for week one and the rest of this season, but for the rest of his teammates as well. And Diggs had several hitters on Wednesday as well. Said he knows he wants to be, he said he knows he won't be the lone focal point of Josh McDaniels' offense, which likes to spread the ball around, obviously, but he has no issues with that. His quote was that it's a different offense and we've got a lot of weapons. I'm not going in there, quote unquote, demanding targets. I said, nah, it's not that kind of party. And again, it's very different, right? They're going to spread the ball around. They're going to get guys, scheme guys open. They're going to get you looking one way and go the opposite side. They're going to put Drake May in a position to win football games and get players into space to make plays. Additionally, Drake May was asked about potentially being on a quote unquote pitch count or snap tracker, only have a certain amount of plays, as he is coming off that ACL injury. And when asked about it, his answer was definitively hell no. He quickly backtracked to say, I don't know, I don't make the rules, we'll see how it goes, but I really hope not. I think, again, that everything we've seen, yes, a tough injury for a guy over 30 years old, but having a chance to take over half the season to work his way back, the offseason that he's put in, and the anticipation of being able to go out there and prove that he is still one of the best wide receivers in this league is going to do wonders for him, do wonders for this Patriots offense, do wonders for Drake May, and hopefully for the win total that the New England Patriots will have at the end of the day. Also looking at a former Patriots wide receiver, Jakobi Meyers, just last week officially had requested a trade from the Las Vegas Raiders. And again, coming over from the Patriots in free agency, not getting the deal what he wanted. And again, seeing that deal go to Juju Smith-Schuster probably didn't sit well with many. But again, Myers went to the Raiders, had a couple good seasons. But I think he hadn't saw the writing on the wall here as well, being in the last year of his 3-year, I believe it was $10.755 million for this season. But knowing that there's not going to be as big of a role for him with Brock Bowers stepping into the number one role, with Deontay Thornton, the rookie, really stepping up. So again, he asked for that trade and asked about it. He clarified that he said, I asked and they said no. Myers said also Wednesday that's where that stopped. I'm just going to keep doing my job until something shakes out either way. I don't know which way it's going to go, but I'll be ready for whatever. Again, he is looking for an extension on that contract. He wants to be part of this team. And with a new coach and Pete Carroll in town as well, it's tough to find out where you sit in the pecking order. And sometimes it does come by a shock or surprise, as we just saw with Jabril Peppers. Nothing is a given here in the NFL. And Jakobi Meyers and his agents either wanting to get a contract and get things settled or potentially move on to a better opportunity. I think for the Patriots, knowing that that could be a factor for weighing heavily on a number 2 wide receiving or receiving option for the Raiders definitely plays a factor. And if Jakobi really wants his way out, and with the 6 wide receivers that the Patriots have on the roster, keeping an eye on where he might slot in also might not be a bad thing for safekeeping in the coming weeks as well. Finally, we end with a tougher update and adding to the question of, will Christian Gonzalez actually play in the season opener? And the last thing the Patriots want to do is be without their top defensive player in the first game of the season. Christian Gonzalez did not practice on Wednesday, but did do individual work off to the side. So make some progress. Again, not fully restricted to say you can't do anything, you can't run. He was doing individual drills, trying to get up to speed, obviously not full contact or practicing. But again, some positive things. But I think the bigger thing at play really is why on earth would the Patriots push this guy if he's not 100%? We said it on previous episodes, and please go back and check out those to get even more information on what's going on with Christian Gonzalez and the time he has missed since the first practice in training camp, essentially. But again, working his way back from that leg injury. And again, there is no value in trying to rush him back to try and get him out there before he is 100%. And I think if he does not practice today, do not expect to see Christian Gonzalez in the season opening game. Expect to see Carlton Davis become that cornerback one, shadowing the wide receivers for the Raiders. And again, the rest of the defense needs to step up and share the burden. But again, I think trending for Christian Gonzalez not to be out there, but we will keep our eyes and ears open for any updates that state otherwise. A couple other just injury updates, and only two others on the injury report. Recently signed cornerback Charles Woods, who could actually end up suiting up if Gonzalez is out. Continue to be limited with both concussion and groin injuries. So again, something to monitor a little bit more. And finally, wide receiver Efton Chisholm is fully back after his knee injury in that breakout performance in the second preseason game. While he may not be fully integrated into the offense and having it necessarily plays run for him, don't be surprised if he actually does get a chance to suit up and make some plays here in week 1. That'll do it for us here on this episode of Pat's Latest. Again, make sure you go down and subscribe for the channel to get all the information sent to your inbox and get the alerts of when we're going on so you can know what's happening as it breaks. Get into our comments and let us know what you think about the Belichick statue, Stefon Diggs, and his way to man up, what Jakobi Meyers should do, and if there is a right move here for Christian Gonzalez. Make sure you give us that like if you like what you heard, and go back and check out all of our old episodes so you know what's going on with your New England Patriots as we continue to have everything for you right here on Pat's Latest. Fight on, Foxborough.